Listen, I don't mean to be a sore loser, but when it's done, if I'm dead, kill him.
Love to.
After 6 decades in show business, Robert Redford announced that 2018's The Old Man and the Gun will be his last performance. The role is a familiar one for the screen legend, a con with conviction.
He seemed like a nice enough fella.
Look at that. Does he smile?
So today, let's travel through the lens to explore how Robert Redford developed this character and how this on-screen persona perfectly culminates in his cinematic swan song.
You know what I do when the door closes? I jump out the window.
Every screen legend has a distinct on-screen persona. John Wayne is the unflappable tough guy, Jimmy Stewart, the humble everyman, and Robert Redford falls somewhere in between. A good guy who does the right thing, but he does it the wrong way.
I'm celebrating.
What are you celebrating?
I got you to cross the street.
Let's go back to 1960, when Robert Redford makes his Hollywood debut, guest starring on a number of small-screen Old West shows like The Deputy and Maverick, where the baby-faced Redford naturally fits into these supporting good guy roles.
We'll see him safely to the Red River, man.
A 1960 episode of Tate allows Redford to stretch his chops as a vengeful young man who tries to take on the titular one-armed gunslinger.
How much did you get paid to do it?
And it's early roles like these that will influence the one that makes him a major star.
Who are those guys?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Redford plays Sundance to Paul Newman's Butch, a charming dynamic duo of anti-hero outlaws who fight for their lives as the frontier dies around them.
You know, when I was a kid, I always thought I was going to grow up to be a hero.
Well, it's too late now.
The 1969 blockbuster perfectly represents the state of the Western in Hollywood as it faded from its former glory. Filmmakers had to get creative to reinvigorate the genre, so they reinterpret the uncomplicated morality tales of the 1940s and 50s, where white hat-wearing good guys gunned down black-hatted bad guys.
Out here, a man settles his own problems.
And introduce characters who fall somewhere in the middle, in that moral gray area between the forces of good and evil. But back to Robert Redford, who is a household name from his Sundance success, which leads to more starring roles and another smash hit pair-up with Paul Newman in 1973's The Sting.
The boss is quite a card player, Mr. Kelly. How does he do it?
He cheats.
Redford and Newman are once again on the wrong side of the law, this time as charming conmen who have a score to settle with another crook who has done them wrong.
He's not as tough as he thinks.
Neither are we.
In '76, he portrays real-life reporter Bob Woodward in All the President's Men. Woodward uncovers the Nixon-Watergate scandal while working for the Washington Post.
They volunteered he was innocent when nobody asked if he was guilty.
Not an outlaw outright, Woodward allies with a shady source, the infamous Deep Throat, dancing dangerously close to the edge of what's legal to get his story, as the film further examines those moral gray areas.
You can trust me, you know that.
Redford saddles up in '79 for the Electric Horseman as a washed-up rodeo rider who steals an injured horse to set him free in the wild.
I'm not used to being talked to like I'm some kind of a
I'm not used to being talked about like I was a horse thief.
What do you call a man who steals horses?
The horse is being drugged and abused for a promotional campaign, so Redford takes the law into his own hands, whether he has the right to or not. Again, the right thing, but the wrong way.
Everybody's done their thing. Amco did what they had to do, you did what you had to do, now I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Over the subsequent years, and we're only scratching the surface on his roles without diving into how he imbues that same outlaw spirit into his directing career, Redford depicts shades of his con with conviction in characters like the big game hunter in 1985's Out of Africa, the hacker in 1992's Sneakers, and the horse whisperer in 1998's The Horse Whisperer.
I read this article about what you do for people with horse problems.
Well, truth is, I help horses with people problems.
For 2018's The Old Man and the Gun, a role that Redford says will be his last, we see a perfect culmination of the persona he's developed throughout his storied career.
You said he was armed.
He had a gun.
You saw it.
Well, he was also sort of a gentleman.
He plays a real-life con with conviction who escapes jail at the age of 70 to return to what he's always done best.
Ma'am, this is a robbery. And you show her the gun like this. And you say, I wouldn't want you to get hurt, because I like you.
It's nearly 50 years later, and we can still see the spirit of the Sundance Kid in this new role.
Well, we're back in business, boys and girls, just like the old days.
If only. There will be imitators. Any legend can expect that. But there will never be another who can make doing wrong look so good. there will never be another Robert Redford. The con with conviction.
Hey, I don't mean nothing by it.